All right, so I am formally live. Now, this is the thing with the different streaming applications. Ooh, it takes a lot, right, to go live. A lot of them are starting to block like third-party applications, so you can't go live directly on the platform. So, first of all, hi, everybody. I am Dr. Ebony Gray, and today I am going to be giving you all the tea focused on unlocking federal employment tips for landing political appointments. So, we all know the traditional way to landing federal jobs. First, USA Jobs, that's the mecca. That's where all of the jobs um, are located. At least that's what people tell you, right? But that's not necessarily true. I will say USA Jobs is a great place to start. But if you know, especially a particular agency, you should look at that specific agency. So let me make sure I give you the right site so you can just know all of our federal agencies so you can know where you want to work and start doing the research. So, of course, Google is your friend. You can just look up US federal agencies. The first thing that's going to pop up is the US federal agencies, but the agencies are listed at usa.gov, which is the A to Z index of federal agencies. So that is the first place where you want to look. Like when you're doing research, you're just trying to figure out, you should understand the different agencies, understand where you want to work, and the A to Z index of US government departments and agencies is located at www.usa.gov. That is important. Some of the federal agencies, and hold on for my USA federal agencies. Again, they are located at www.usa.gov. Why is this important? Because you want to research, you want to understand, you want to know the federal agencies that you're about to join. I would even take it a step further and look at your agency employee viewpoint surveys or like the top federal agencies because you want to go where the best of the best is, right? Now, I will get into that probably in another live session, like how to identify the top government agencies, the best government agencies, because I truly believe work life balance. You want to work where it's a healthy environment where they're invested in you, they're fostered in you. Um, you don't want to work in a toxic environment. So I definitely would not want to apply to an agency that's at the bottom of the list, right? Of the employee viewpoint surveys. But I do think it's extremely important to, first of all, research. So go to usa.gov, research the different federal agencies. Do you know the federal agencies, the different federal agencies? Let's see. Just some examples. Will be, let's say, Ability One Commission. How many of you have heard of Ability One Commission, Access Board, the Advisory Council on Historic Preservation, Africa Command? So typically, that's in Germany. A lot of times people think, well, federal agencies are just here in the United States. There are overseas opportunities like Germany, Italy. You know, we have a contingency in Ukraine. Where else? Korea, right? I've served in Korea and Germany. We used to have opportunities in Afghanistan. They probably still exist, but wherever you have military personnel or Department of Defense or where we're doing business, you might have like the CIA. the National Security Agency, again, Africa commands. Those are most likely, right, they have opportunities for the overseas positions. Now, I will say NSA and most of your intelligence agencies are not located on USA Jobs. So if you were trying to find those positions, you wouldn't find them on USA Jobs. You would go directly to that website. So you would go to nsa.gov to find that specific job opportunity. They have a great, robust career site. They have a different application system. So definitely go there. CIA.gov, FBI.gov, or for Africa Command, you see like that is here at USA.gov. You can go straight to their website, US Africa Command, and see like those different opportunities. So go to USA.gov, research your different agencies that you might be interested in, like the Air Force. I feel like that's the best government agency, right? Again, you may think something, right? But until you do the research, you don't fully know. So you don't want to land at a place and you say, oh my gosh, why did I sign up to work here? Did you know AmeriCorps is listed as a government agency? The Army, let's see, some others. Bankruptcy courts, if you're a lawyer, right? You're like, okay, I want to get into the bankruptcy or the Botanic Garden. So these are some, you always hear about the big agencies, but these are some of the smaller agencies. And again, I would take it a step further. Don't just look at USA Jobs, but look specifically at that agency's website. Click on careers and then look at the career opportunities, because again, sometimes they may not have all of their opportunities listed on the website. And plus, again, it gives you the opportunity to get familiar with that agency. Also, one thing I think that many people miss out on is when you go directly to the agency, you also can sign up for like their agency distro list or newsletters and find out about maybe hiring affairs or where they're going to be. So a lot of people get frustrated, can't get in the door. How do I get to know somebody from the agency? Show up. So if they're having a hiring affair or agency event or an info session, which like the IRS, the census, they have all the time, you can sign up for their newsletter, show up, right? If they're having events, get to know their hiring officials, give them your resume, come prepared, and just talk to them and get to know people at that specific agency. That is so important. When you're job searching. So we always talk about the basics, right? Go to USA Jobs, submit your resume, do this, no, network. Network directly impacts your net worth. Your network directly impacts your net worth. So I can tell you firsthand, you could get direct hired from some of these in-person job affairs or career events. Show up. So again, go to USA.gov, look at the specific agencies that you might be interested in, sign up for their newsletters, sign up for like additional information, look at the careers and opportunities they may have, learn who their hiring officials are, right? For the specific agency. And again, show up, get to know them. Capitol Police, right? The Census Bureau. At USA.gov, it has their websites, it has their phone numbers, it has their contact information. So that's the first homework, is just get to know your federal agencies. So next up is let's say you're interested in a political appointment. What is a political appointment, right? Ebony, what are you talking about? You don't know. You can go to presidentialtransition.org. So that specifically provides the information for appointee resources. So you can Google right? You can just Google the presidentialtransition.org or information on political appointments. But again, you can sign up for their frequently asked questions or for their newsletter. Most websites you go to, they have that pop up, right? As soon as you go to their website, you put your email address in. You can go to frequently asked questions. So let's say I'm at presidentialtransition.org, resources for prospective appointees. So this is great, right? So say for instance, maybe your goal point is you want to get a federal job by January 2025. This is how you prepare. I do not believe in doing something just spur of the moment, right? Something as important as transitioning into a new job. Take your time, like prepare, educate yourself. So you go to presidentialtransition.org or you just Google how to get a political appointment. You get to this page, it's called Ready to Serve, Resources for Prospective Appointees. It tells you all the information. Like you can watch, of course, it's on YouTube, so you can look on YouTube if maybe you like videos step by step. It gives you all the instructions. You can search on YouTube like different keywords like presidential appointee, how to become a presidential appointee, how to apply as a presidential appointee. So YouTube has everything, right? I'm certain you probably can find some videos on TikTok as well, or Instagram, or any of your social media platforms. But YouTube seems to be like that steady platform where you can get those step-by-step instructions. So if you have time, right, you have several months to just watch and learn. So some of the key steps in the appointment process. So this is specifically for political appointments, and these political appointments are serving the government. So right now it says, and this was again at the beginning of the Biden-Harris administration, approximately 4,000 political appointments to help carry out the president's agenda. So approximately 4,000 jobs and opportunities. Now you're thinking cabinet level, you're thinking secretary level, you're thinking the big bosses, but guess what? There's also jobs for you at every level, whether you want to be at the cabinet level or whether you want to be that GS 13, 14, or 15. And again, their purpose is to help carry out the president's agenda. Where would you find out about the president's agenda? Whitehouse.gov typically is going to lead you to all things president, no matter who's in the office. What's important for you, if you want this political appointment, is to understand whoever is serving in office, understand their agenda, understand where to find the information so you can have the talking points, so you can understand how you can support. You can submit your resume for positions, right, at the Office of Presidential Personnel. Now, we'll go into that in 1 second. So I'll just go down all the requirements just so you can hear them, so you can understand them. So you would submit your resume. Now, I will say, right, let's show you some of the resumes. Let's see. Let's see. Where did I put them? So say, for instance, you're like, well, what type of resume should I submit? What should I submit? What should I do? So right now I'm going to Google, because I believe I pulled it up on my phone earlier. So you Google political appointee resumes. Just Google. Just simple Google. Now, I don't know how your Google is set up, but my Google basically says resumes of political appointees. That's the first thing that pops up from Homeland Security. Now, I'm not interested in just Homeland Security. I'm interested in all the political appointee resumes. So I click on, this is americanoversight.org. So this is an insider tip. Are you listening? Americanoversight.org historically always asks for the political appointee resumes. So this is every single resume of the political appointees in the United States government. So you don't have to think too hard as far as the example, as far as give you evidence. And trust but verify. So go ahead and Google. If you can't see my screen share, political appointee resumes. Just Google political appointee resumes and see what comes up. It should be your second option. And trust but verify. So I am sharing live so you can see. Here are the political appointee resumes and job titles. You don't have to think so hard. You don't have to be stressed out. Basically, here's some examples. And again, this was a request that was made in September 14th, 2023. They requested the records for the political appointee resumes. It's 183 pages of resumes. See, so I'm just going to the first resume that I see. This one is professional experience. Clip around the world selling yacht race. This person was a participant as a crew member aboard a 70-foot ocean racing yacht. Why did they put that? Most likely because they have a relationship with a political official that likes yachts. I know it seems simple, but it really is that simple. This person put that there for a reason, because why? Have you ever seen somebody talk about yacht racing on a resume? No. But this particular person knows, okay, if I put this, you know, this person's going to know who I am. Maybe they're their friend from the yacht club or whatever. I can tell you that is probably what's behind that. Also, they were the director of legislative affairs from the Boeing Company. Why is that important? This tells me this person has legislative background, right? So now I'm automatically connected. If I'm selecting this person as a political official, so typically it's not going to be the president that's necessarily picking you. The president is too busy, you know, picking those cabinet level officials. This is probably somebody on the president's staff. You know, they'll have like a transition team or a hiring team that's looking at these resumes. So this particular person, right, legislative affairs, plus they were the manager for legislative affairs. So they, you know, elevated from manager to director of legislative affairs. They were the primary company representative to the U.S. Congress. So why is that important in a political appointment? Because it's showing this person has that relationship. They've attended hearings, conducted and organized congressional briefings. I can tell you, so let me rewind a little background about me. I am an alum of Emerge Maryland. I've also received training from Ready to Run. So I have a lot of background and insight. I served on multiple political organizations. I've also served as a campaign manager. I've served as a field director. I've volunteered for political campaigns. I've also served as a precinct captain. So those would be things that if I was going for a political appointment, I would put. So again, even the small things could make a huge impact if you're going after a political appointment for the federal government. So again, on this particular resume, They talk about leadership, strategic planning, business development, project management. So, talking about their skills, but also one thing to note is the Office of United States Senator Lisa Murkowski. Why is that important? They served as a senior legislative assistant. So, for the youth out there, or maybe you're retired, or maybe you're just interested in getting into politics or learning, you can go right to your state delegate, your congressional rep, your house delegate, um, your mayor's office, your senator. You can actually call their office, ask them if they have volunteer opportunities. I know most of my elected officials live in my community, right? So we show up to events. You can always sign up, volunteer for different political events. But if you're interested, you can always volunteer to be a legislative assistant. Guess what? The political officials are in meetings, right? They're having to do media. Um, they're constantly having to serve their constituents. A lot of times they'll be at events. So they need somebody standing back in their office helping with legislative issues, answering the phones. If you call your political official right now, they probably won't directly answer the phone. They have legislative assistants. They may have like a chief that serves overall, or director, but essentially they have a whole staff. So that could be something you volunteer for if you're possibly unemployed or just looking to serve. But also they have paid legislative assistants as well, just helping with the office. So this will be important. Again, this person served as a legislative assistant, which ultimately got them that big job at Boeing, and then ultimately got them a political appointment in the federal government. But this is the type of things that is on their resume. Why? Because they're showing and proving. I have this experience. I'm in there, right? I've been doing the legislative work. And again, that's how you get in the door for the political appointments. So it could be volunteer. Just look and see who's running for office around you. Volunteer. If you care about any of the political campaigns that are going on, it doesn't have to be just presidential. It could be your local campaign, school board, mayor race, congressional, state delegate, Senate, any of those campaigns, county council. You can volunteer, get your political networking in, get your experience in, and get these jobs. So also this person, they put their education, but again, with the political appointment resumes, you want to highlight your community service, your work in the political realm. And again, you not necessarily a party, right? That's helpful if you're Democrat, Republican, or another party, but that's not the only way, right? Again, you could be a lobbyist, you could be an advocate, you can be part of legislative affairs, you can educate people on political issues. So again, don't discount yourself if you're not necessarily loyal to a specific party, but you do need to highlight, like, that's the whole point of political appointments, is essentially the people are ultimately being rewarded for their hard work. So this one, community involvement, they talk about being a board member. They talk about being invited as a speaker. They even write in the Boston Marathon, right? They reaching, but again, they're putting like all their community service and involvement, because that really is important for political appointees. Again, this particular person, they put right at the top, right? They went to Spelman. So with that, they went to Spelman. That could possibly resonate to a person that, let's say, also went to Spelman. A lot of times with connections and relationships, it's who you know. And I will say college is a big deal, right? I am a graduate of George Washington University, finished my MBA at George Washington University. I can tell you, I can reach out to any of the alum from George Washington University, and they most likely are going to talk to me because we have that mutual connection. Same way, if they reach out to me in my inbox, or if I see them highlighted right on a resume, I'm going to pay attention because, yes, I definitely appreciate and respect the alum. And I know, okay, this is a quality candidate. So don't discount, right? Your education, who you know, whether it's your college and university, sorority, fraternity affiliation, different volunteer organizations and affiliations, and again, political parties, like all of that's important for these political appointments. So specifically, this person, they say from January 23rd to 2017 to the present, they served at the White House. So of course, that person is in there. They done served at the White House. They coordinated and they were a liaison with coordinate and liaison with the White House leadership and executives for small business groups. So 9 times out of 10, this person might be going for like a small business position. Again, prior to that, they worked at Wells Fargo Bank, and they did operational aspects, including distribution operations. I mean, that could be looked at for that particular position, but I can tell you, just based off of 2 seconds of looking at this particular resume, it's all about they have experience at the White House. So 9 times out of 10, they're going to get pulled first, right? They put Spelman at the top. Okay, you know, high caliber, top notch, but again, at the same time, they worked at the White House, so you know they have the experience that you need for that specific position. So this particular person, let's say their resume is communications director and professional staff member. So again, you're going for a political appointment. Look at the title: Minority Staff, House Armed Services Committee. So this person, 9 times out of 10, is going for a White House position. And again, these are just the resumes. I'm going to go into the positions and how you can find the different positions in a second, but this is just the resume. It's like when you're saying, well, what does the resume look like? Public record. Freedom of Information Act, basically you can pull information. That's why you have to be careful what you put on your resume, and also understand, especially if you're a political appointee, that anybody can pull your resume and information. They can request it from the Freedom of Information Act, and it's posted because why? We have to be accountable, right? The watchdogs, they're looking. So with this particular person, again, was the communications director and professional staff member. It says like January 2011 to present. They served as a primary spokesperson for the ranking member, coordinated messaging for minority HASC. That person is in there, right? They have political connections. They also were a communications director for a congressman, and they also were a consultant. So because I'm in the political space, right? I'm very knowledgeable of the political space. Volunteer. This person volunteered for political campaigns. So they were the communications director for a congressperson. What does that mean? They probably were doing like the emails, the websites, sending out messages for that congressional rep that helped to elevate them, right? They got a job working on the House committee. And also prior to that, they served as a consultant, 9 times out of 10, a political consultant for a political campaign. The consultant could be anything, like how to recruit volunteers, strategies on how to run to win your political election. So these are the type of resumes. So again, you can just Google political appointee resumes and you can get insight on the different resumes that were submitted. Are they great? Can't say whether they're great or not per se. I'm just letting you know what type of information that they're looking for when you submit those political resumes. They want to know how you're connected. They want to know how you supported. And as you can see, right, these particular candidates, they served in various capacities, whether it's volunteering for a political party, helping to serve a political candidate as far as being on their campaign, like volunteer, or again, serving within Congress, right? Like you have a political job, whether it's legislative assistant, legislative aide. So just think about those type of things if you're trying to get in the door and just trying to think outside the box as far as how you can serve. You can serve in any capacity. If you're good with numbers, I can tell you a lot of political candidates, right? They need a treasurer. They might need help with their budget. They might need a fundraising strategy because a lot of times when you're running for office, like even for school board, now I have seen a candidate win for school board with not a dollar in the bank account, right? Like they was bootstrapping for real and they successfully won 3 times. But for the most part, and you can pull all political campaign finance reports, sometimes you need millions, several thousands of dollars in order to run. So why wouldn't a person want you on their team if you can help fundraise or if you can help them strategize, or maybe you're connected and you know people. Also, maybe if you're great at communications as far as sending those emails out, you can look at some of your political candidates. Their websites are a mess, right? So if you're good with putting together a website or sending out those emails, or even the basics of door knocking. How many? I haven't seen it in a while. Nobody came and knocked on my door this year, but just going and door knocking and reaching out and engaging with constituents, even get out the vote, right? That could be your political involvement. You want to get people registered to vote. That's a big deal. You help people get out to vote. So those type of things can help you. Also, election judge. Maybe you want to get paid. Sign up to be an election judge in November, right? Or anytime that you have elections, they pay pretty good for to be an election judge. So those are just different ways that you can get involved. So that's the resume part. Okay. Also, again, you gather the information required for the vetting forms. You interview with the Office of Presidential Personnel. Again, the president typically will have people that are interviewing, that are screening people for these political appointments. You will submit your background investigation. So the SF 86, SF 85, all these acronyms. Also, the financial disclosure. I can tell you the one key for the background investigation is be honest. The reason they do the background investigations is because, of course, if you're serving as a political appointee, you can't have scandal. I've personally witnessed, seen scandal. I'm certain some of you have if you watch the news. You see scandal. You don't want to represent the political party, right? The president that's in office and have a whole bunch of skeletons in your closet, as well as they want to make sure that nobody can bribe you, right? Like, oh, let me give you this check, right? And you give me information. So that they're very stringent on that part as far as the background investigation. And like I said, be honest, right? Maybe you've had some financial challenges or some shaky in the past. It could hurt you or it could not, right? But being honest, you tell the truth. Like, you know what? I was late on a couple of bills in 2006, right? I had lost my job. I was sick. I was trying to just keep my head above water, but I was able to resolve the situation, right? I entered into payment plans. I was able to successfully pay off those bills. So if you have those type of red flags, like maybe some shaky credit or whatever, just explain, right? But don't lie. Do not lie on your SF-86 and security forms. Also, the same thing with financial disclosure is they're just checking to see that you're straight, right? That there's nothing in your background that can be exploited. That's the big thing. Um, Also, of course, just like any job application, you will be responding to requests for additional information, and then you will work with the agency's ethics officials to resolve any financial conflicts of interest. So again, it could be like any type of financial thing, like maybe you're invested in something that raises a red flag, or again, any type of financial troubles or conflicts of interest that come up. Um, Prepare for Senate confirmation hearings. That's only if that position requires Senate confirmation, and then also receive the official appointment. So with that, you see how it says submit resume for positions. So let's go there so you can see exactly what you would submit for political appointment. Now remember, the political appointment is under the White House. So as the administrations change, you'll see the different administrations. So right now it says join the Biden-Harris administration. So that is the current administration that's in office. And again, every time we have an election cycle and different administrations come into office, this site is updated. So just know whitehouse.gov, whoever's in the White House, whitehouse.gov, get involved, join us. That's where you can find the information. So under get involved, you can sign up for the newsletter. And also this is where you can find the different jobs and opportunities. So you can volunteer. Always you can volunteer when you see people serving on the different boards and committees. That's not just certain people, right? Any citizen can volunteer, whether you're a youth, right? I love seeing youth step up and volunteer, right? Be involved in the White House issues, right? Use your voice, speak out, especially if you have issues that you care about, or if you're interested in getting involved in politics or just serving your community. And as you can see, I'll just read the first paragraph. When President Biden and Vice President Harris took office, our country faced unprecedented crisis, a raging pandemic, economic crisis, climate crisis, and racial injustice. So if those were things that you cared about and you said, well, I can fix this, I have a solution, I don't care what side of the party you sit on, right? You can still serve, right? The climate, I don't think that's party specific. Economic crisis, raging pandemic, racial injustice, right? Those are serious issues. So that's ways that you can help. And again, as you're looking at political parties, so this is important when you're watching the news, when you're watching the political debates, when you're researching, right, like who you're going to vote for, pay attention to their plan, right, their strategy, what they say they're going to do. So I'll give an example, like President Obama. What did he say he was going to do? Immigration, rights for LGBTQ community, healthcare, right? Healthcare access for all. So those were like his key issues. So if that was something that was important to you, that could be a way to get that administration's attention, right? And volunteer. So just pay attention to what that specific person that's running for office, what they care about, what they're going to focus on, because again, that could drive what you can volunteer for, how you can get involved. If you want a political appointment, again, you pull at the heartstrings, right? What a person cares about. I will tell you this is a secret about politics, right? Politics, there are no permanent friends. There are no permanent enemies, only common interests. That is what one of my mentors taught me, is what are your common interests, right? Because like for me, I care about veterans. I care about women's rights. I care about survivors' rights, right, of domestic violence and sexual assault. I also care about homelessness, like housing homeless veterans and homeless women and homeless youth. So those are my passions. So if you want to get to me, you want to connect with me, that's how you would connect to me. First things first, veterans. Anything veterans, you want my attention, tell me you're supporting veterans. But what's important to you? So maybe I didn't say something that is important to you, but you can convince me because you can say, well, Ebony, I have this specific initiative and I'm going to support your cause over here. If you're willing to support my cause over here, now we can have a mutual conversation. Um, so with this, right, when you talk about political appointments, of course, they have the link for usajobs.gov, and that specific link is for your traditional government jobs. And don't forget what I told you about, you look at usajobs.gov, but also go to those specific agencies that you might be interested in. And for the intelligence agencies, you can go to intelligencecareers.gov or go specifically to those websites like nsa.gov, cia.gov, fbi.gov, dia.gov to look for those specific opportunities because they may not be listed on USA Jobs. Also, the whitehouse.gov has get involved internships. So if you're in college, now I have to emphasize this. Just because you're going to college does not mean that you don't have to work and get the experience. Guess what? Your peers that are in college that are working simultaneously doing these internships and fellowships, now they have 4 years more experience than you, right? So you want to make sure that you sign up for these internships. And just because you are a youth, meaning 14 to 17, does not mean you're exempt. You can also look for internships in high school, right? To start serving, get that experience. If you look at most jobs out there, they require experience, right? So that's a way that you can get experience. You can look right here, whitehouse.gov, get involved, internships, sign up, do those internships, learn everything you can and get the experience. But for those just seeking political appointees, political appointments, you would go here. So this is the application. You put your name, your middle name, if you have one. It's not necessary. You see everything with the red little asterisk is mandatory. Everything else is optional. Your last name, your email address, phone numbers, like all of your detailed information. You want to put if that you're a citizen or not, or if you're authorized to work in the United States. You also want to annotate if you're a veteran or if you are currently employed by the federal government. Just because you're employed by the federal government does not mean that you can't apply for a political appointee position. But again, you do need to identify. Then you would upload your resume. And again, I showed you where to find some examples, right, of the political appointee resumes. So again, with that, you would upload your resume and you want to make your resume kind of targeted to the position that you desire. So I'm going to show you the different positions in 1 second. Then you can also select your desired functions. So as you can see, like protocol, communications, press, information technology, digital media, intergovernmental affairs, legal, legislative, management, administration, policy, project management, operations, public engagement, scheduling, and speech writing. Guess what? All of those secretaries of the agencies, they need those speech writers, right? So if you're great at writing or communications, but as you can see, there's multiple functions that you can serve within the government as a political appointee. You can also see like the different policy areas, again, going back to what you care about. So When you think political appointments, it could be volunteering, serving the party, working on campaigns. It also could be advocating for these specific areas: agriculture, alternative energy, artificial intelligence, arts, humanities, banking, financial regulation, budget, children and families, civil rights and liberties, climate change, commerce, consumer protection, criminal justice, defense, disability rights, economic development. So possibly like if you had a business or you volunteered, or again, you're passionate about these different areas: housing, immigration, infrastructure, LGBTQ issues, maternal health, mental health, rural America, small business, social entrepreneurship, veterans affairs, women's rights. That could be your involvement, right? In politics, or why they should hire you for this particular political appointment. Also, you would designate desired department, agency, board, or commission. So let me explain this. So the commissions, you can volunteer to serve. There may be paid opportunities as well. For the commissions, it could be like the commissions on Veterans Affairs, or the commission on women's rights, or the commission on small business. Those are commissions, or the boards, right? Also, again, for your federal agencies, you would distinguish exactly what federal agency that you want to serve at. So that it's important for you to do your homework to know where you want to serve. And you can see the different opportunities, like Board of Visitors to the United States, Board of Visitors to United States Military Academy, Central Intelligence Agency, Christopher Columbus Fellowship Foundation, Board of Trustees, Community Development Advisory Board, DC Commission on Judicial Disabilities. These are just opportunities. And then, of course, the actual agencies: Department of Education, Department of Commerce, Department of Energy, Department of Health and Human Services, Department of Housing and Urban Development, Department of Justice, and so on and so forth. So you can see all the different boards and agencies. And if you don't know what you don't know, you can go to USA.gov and research and find out about the different agencies, or you can always use Google. Google is your friend. Like National Security Education Board. Oh, I want to serve on that board. I don't know about it. Google National Security Education Board and research about that particular board. See if you know anybody. Look on LinkedIn and see if maybe you know somebody from that board, so you can ask them questions. Maybe set up an informational interview and ask questions. But all of that information is right here, so you can see clearly all of the opportunities and commissions, like this commission, the Postal Regulatory Commission, Presidential Advisory Commission on Asian Americans, Native Hawaiians, and Pacific Islanders. If that was something that you're passionate about, if you fit into that distinct demographic, perhaps you want to serve on that commission. Or President's Advisory Commission on Educational Excellence for African Americans. Wow, maybe you're passionate about that. So that could be a commission that you serve on. So you see all these distinct opportunities to serve in the White House, right? So you can serve, again, political appointment. You can serve getting appointed to a board or a commission. But this is all the ways that you could serve from where you are. It also asks if you're a federal lobbyist, or have you been registered as a federal lobbyist in the past 24 months. So be honest about that, so you would know if that's your background. Then, of course, you provide your demographic information in the application. And this could be important specifically like for certain boards and just for tracking purposes, so they can understand who you are. But again, most times this is optional, right? You don't have to. See, it's optional information, so you don't have to disclose your demographic information, but it could be helpful. Then you would put the details, like describe if you have like management experience, describe if you have government experience. And I will tell you, So maybe you don't have management experience from your day-to-day job, but if you served as a campaign chair or a leader or volunteer organizer, or you served as the chair for your specific volunteer organization, that could be management experience. So that's how you lead where you are. Think about like the student advisory councils, or like when I was a student at George Washington University, I served as the chair, right, for career development. So the chair for career development. Oh my gosh, I went blank for a second. But again, that's ways that you can lead, and that is management experience. So you can quantify those things. And of course, if you have management experience from your day-to-day job. Do you have past government experience? So any agencies, whether you served as a contractor, a volunteer, an intern, or if you were a federal worker, military experience, you can talk about any experience that you have. And then, of course, any additional qualifications. Most people probably will pump that up, like if maybe they worked on a different campaign or political issue or board, they can put that information in details, and then you would hit submit. But I will say, do not hit submit. Do not submit this application until you do your research, know who you're talking to, understand exactly what you want to do. So, what is it that you want to do? So, let's go on over to the Plum Book. So, for the Plum Book, most people don't know about this. So, you can just Google U.S. Plum Reporting, or the Plum Book, PLUM book. And with the Plum Book, basically, this is a listing that was updated March 4th, 2024. Now, all the information should be updated and accurate as of March 4th, 2024. And typically, it's updated again annually, or as we enter into different presidential cycles. So I'm going to read you verbatim. The information listed reflects positions that have been submitted in prior Plum Books, PLUMBOOKS. The Plum Book is your guide to all of these different positions and information, as well as their current incumbencies, information for entities not included in prior Plum Books, as well as newly established entities since the publishing of the 2020 Plum Book. So that's what you would Google. Google Plum Book, or the most recent Plum Book. Acting incumbencies and historical incumbencies will be included later in the 2024 update of the Plum Book. So there should be a 2024 update of the Plum Book. It's probably not 100% finalized, but you can always Google and see. And OPM's confirmation is made in reliance on certifications provided by each responding agency. So this provides the descriptions of the different positions that you can get as a political appointee. So it's the Schedule C positions. They are accepted from the competitive service because of their confidential and policy determining character. Most such positions are at a grade GS 15 or a GS or lower. Schedule C positions above the 15 level are either in the senior level SL personnel system or are specifically authorized in law. So again, it gives you like all the details about just the definitions and what you would be hired as. And again, you have like your SES levels, but that Schedule C, again, grade 15, it could be lower levels. Those senior level SL positions. Then you have senior executive service is a personnel system covering top level policy, supervisory, and managerial positions in most federal agencies. And then you have the different types of SES positions, appointments to SES positions where you have the career appointments, and then you have the non-career appointment and limited appointment. So it just spells out those definitions. but where you want to go. And then if you want to see maybe the pay plans and schedules, you're like, I want to know how much I'm going to get paid if I go after this political appointment. You can get the information on the executive schedule and the GS schedules and the pay scales on the website. And also for your law enforcement officers, they have a different pay scale. So you can find all of that under the Plum reporting. And then under Plum data, surprise, they have all of the agencies, the components, the positions, the type of appointments for you to see. So you can see who's currently in positions. Again, if maybe you're a watchdog or you're just curious, you also can see their expiration date. So let's say the Administrative Conference of the United States, the chairman is Andrew Foy. He's in Washington, D.C. You can see the type of appointment that he has, the grade, and you can see his expiration is May 26, 2027. They have the Advisory Council of Historic Preservation. You see the chairman. You can see her type of appointment, expiration 1/19/2025, which typically would coincide with the presidential transition. So let's say you have a specific agency. So you've done your homework and you know the agency that you want to work for and you want to see what's going on. So let's go for the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau. So there's 8 records. So there's 8 positions at the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau. So with that, currently, and again, one thing about public officials, all of our information is public. So you see the associate director, you see the location, you see the type of appointment, the pay plan, and you also see the salary, right? You can see all of the directors, so the chief of staff, the chief technologist, the director, you can see all of their positions and salaries. Why would this be beneficial to you? Because if you were trying to take their spots, you understand exactly what you would be paid, you understand who was in that position before you, and you also understand the type of appointment that you would have. So let's go to, let's click off the agencies. And I want to select vacant, right? I don't care about the filled positions. I just want to see what's vacant. So currently, as of today, according to the Plum data, there are 1,083 vacant positions. What does that mean? You could potentially go after it right now and today if you wanted to. Again, you see the application is still open. That is the number one myth, that people think they only fill political appointments, right, during the presidential transition. No, political appointments are open all throughout their tenure, because guess what? People come, people go. You see sometimes people get fired, people resign, people retire. So you can always look for the vacancies. So right now you have vacancy at the Barry Goldwater Scholarship and Excellence in Education Foundation. You have the Chemical Safety and Hazard Investigation Board. The board chairperson, the chief operating officer, and the general counsel are all vacant. It's executive positions. You have the Commission of Fine Arts. So maybe you're into the arts. They have a vacant position. That could be something that you apply for. The Corporation for National and Community Service Board of Directors. You see just different vacancies. So that's how I would play it, is just look to see what's out there, look what's vacant, and then do the research on that specific position to make sure that your resume and your experience align. So let's say right now this is Department of Commerce, Office of Chief Financial Officer and Assistant Secretary for Administration. Their Chief Financial Officer and Assistant Secretary for Administration, vacant. Their deputy assistant secretary for intelligence and security, vacant. Their senior advisor for administration and management, vacant. So if that was of interest to you, maybe you want to work for Department of Commerce, you could essentially look into this. You can apply for that position and go for it. I will tell you, it does pay to have friends. So figure out who works at Department of Commerce. Also, think about who your political allies are. So if you do have a congressional rep that you know very well, or a delegate or a senator, definitely have them advocate for you, have them be a reference for you, have them make a phone call for you. That's how it works. Again, your network directly impacts your net worth. So that could help you to get in the door. And again, for political appointments, that is when you want to talk your talk. Who do you know? How do you know them? Who have you supported? Talk your talk, right? On that resume, but also on your application as well. And in your interview, right? Relationships matter. And one thing I didn't talk about was maybe you run for political office. You see what happens. Everybody's running for president. The person that doesn't get selected typically might get appointed as a secretary for a distinct agency. That's how it works. So maybe if you run for office and you're not necessarily successful, so sorry to hear that, but go after a political appointment so you can still serve. So don't sulk, right? You can still continue pressing on, right? Dry your tears, figure out, your strategy for that next election, but also you can go after a political appointment and make friends, right? Make those connections. Let whoever's in office know exactly how you can support them, whether on a board, a commission, or serving in a political appointed position. So again, the Plum data, like, it has all the information. Let me post this before I forget. And of course, by computer. Oh, it doesn't want to let me post. So I will post it later. But again, if you have any questions about this, as far as the political appointments, definitely let me know. Again, you can always look and research political appointments so you can get the information. Google definitely is your best friend, but I'm also here if you have any questions. If you want to do a one-on-one strategy session, I will post all my information so that you can meet with me. Again, remember the key steps in political appointment. There's let me check. Let me check how many positions are available, because it said 4,000, but you know what? I think it's more than 4,000. So one second, let me see how many political appointments are available, period. So right now, as I'm looking at the Plum database, there's 8,167 records, which means that's 8,167 opportunities for political appointments. So you do have current people that are sitting in the positions. So if you're just looking for the vacancies, and again, make sure you look at this, especially as we transition. And when I say political transition, so with the presidential elections, no matter who's in office, you still are going to have a transition. So even if the incumbent stays in office, you may still have people that are leaving their positions, right? A lot of your secretaries and senior officials have already resigned and left their political appointments. So those positions are vacant, most likely because they're standing behind, right? Their party, they're campaigning, maybe they're running for office themselves. So you have those vacancies, as well as the people that are currently in political appointments. Sometimes they want to run for office, sometimes they want to move on, retire, whatever. So no matter what, you always have a transition. So you want to make sure that you look for these political appointments during that transition period. So let's say November, December, January timeframe. February is hot, right? Because February normally people are settled. You also can look at it at any time. So right now, as of today, so June 9th, 2024, you look at the different vacant positions, and right now there's 1,083 vacancies for political appointments. So you can apply at any time. Do not think that you only have to apply whenever there's a political transition. You can apply at any time. Specifically for the boards, the commissions, there could be vacancies at any time. And if there's something that you care about, you don't have to sit back and wait. Go ahead and apply. Maybe show up for the different commissions and boards. So you can Google, see if you can find out when they meet, get to know the people on the boards and the commissions, if that's something you're interested in possibly serving in the future or right now, today. Also for the vacancies, remember, you're not going to find these vacancies on USA Jobs. Look at the Plum database. So you can, again, Google Plum data, PLUMDATA, and get all this information that I'm telling you. And you can look at the different vacancies and start researching. So you can see, does your resume align? Who you need to talk to, whether on LinkedIn, within your network, within those distinct agencies. Also, you can see if anything aligns with your interests, whether it's connected to a specific cause, an agency, or your experience, right? You see IT, communication, speechwriter. There's so many things, digital graphics. So make sure you consider all this as you're going through your job search. This is another way to get into the federal government. I've also seen some political appointees actually transition into career from that agency, right? They do so good. They say, you know what, I want to stay, right? So they convert their position over into career, or perhaps they find other opportunities, right? So they're working in one position and then they say, okay, now I have this expertise and this experience and these relationships, and then they transition into a career position. So this is just another pathway into the federal government. I do hope this was helpful. I'm going to look and see. So if you have any questions, just type in the questions. If I need to go live again, right, and record a response, I definitely will. But also, I'll type in the response to your questions. So that way, all of your questions are answered. I hope this was helpful. I want you to get those government jobs, right? Whether it's political appointee, presidential management fellow, whether it's the traditional way, right? Going through USA Jobs or going to my intelligencecareers.gov and applying, or the special appointments, right? Don't forget about the Schedule A, the veterans hiring preference, the spousal hiring preference, the AmeriCorps hiring preference. There's so many different ways to enter the government. Direct hire, right? Don't forget to make sure you put that in your search feature, direct hire, so you can see those positions. But again, today it was all about political appointments. I want you to get ready. I want you to be prepared. So today I talked to you about where to find the political appointments, the information on what's required in order to apply for the political appointment, where to find the political appointee resumes, how to apply for a political appointment through the whitehouse.gov website, and also how to use the Plum reporting data in order to find those political appointee jobs. So I hope this is beneficial. I am Dr. Ebony Gray. I will post if you want to do a one-on-one strategy session with me so I can help gather you and get you into that politically appointed position. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you for listening to me today. And I hope you have a great rest of your Sunday.